late last week. Hello and welcome to a gaming conversation with friends. We're back again, once again, as Removable Sanity likes me to say, with the Renegade Master.
Old school.
Yeah, so are you feeling better now? You've got your voice back?
I've got my voice back, which means I can talk. So for all those who had a nice break last week of me not talking, apologies. I'll be back at full force today. So I'm going to chat like nothing.
It's a massive debate last week. It was quite fun. It was the console people were outnumbered last week. I mean, only for fun. But anyway, welcome back, VJ. Thanks. Sorry for locking you out the voice chat room by mistake.
No problem.
And
no problem at all.
It's good to have you back on. It is. And I guess we've not had on since it was first a Stubzcast, and then it must be when I used to do midweek gaming. It's been a long time now. We've got wilmyhood on the show. How are you doing?
I am alive and well. How about you? And I'm the only one that can I don't know. I lost my train of thought, dude. It's 4 p.m. here, so yeah.
You better say you're American, but you're not, are you? You're not.
Yeah.
Good to have you back on. It is. It's been a while. I'm terrible for inviting people.
It's been a very long while.
I'm terrible for inviting people, as Removable will tell you. I'm terrible
it's true.
at it.
Well, according to Daz, that's not the only thing you're terrible at, but, you know, I mean, it is what it is.
That's about right.
Apparently, by that injury on your knee, apparently the Bedroom Olympics is not for you, and you need to chill out a little bit. Hanging from the ceiling fan trying to lift things is not good.
Oh, no.
This is true.
A lot of people, like with me and Daz, the way we speak to each other online, misconstrue. We're actually good friends, but people get the wrong idea when they see us taking a piss out of each other.
I totally get that, dude.
No, you do, but some people have got the wrong idea before.
Oh yeah, some people are just stupid though. I mean, that's just the way life is. It doesn't matter
if
what
you're
side
not
of the pond you're on.
Piss out of your mate, are you really mates?
Exactly.
You know,
I'll do some shout outs. Oh, Pinky of Legend live in the chat. Welcome, mate. Not nice you could join live. Stinking Corpse, welcome. UK Dazarus, good for stop by. The Ginner, you are right. It's not a Stubz podcast without starting late. Surprising, last week I think I was like we started on time or like 1 minute past for some reason. We did.
So are you trying to say it's me then who's causing all the problems?
No, it's me. We were talking. I was like, we're gonna just talk outside the podcast if we don't start.
We were talking about the aliens that everybody's photographing.
And welcome to Masuku and chat. And that's it so far. But yeah, it's been a few interesting weeks in the landscape of gaming. It has. It's a lot of stuff's changed. Did you play Elden Ring, wilmyhood? Was that your kind of game?
I did play it, and the bad part is, dude, it's normally not my type of game. But I did play it. I actually enjoyed it. Did do a lot of cursing and yelling.
I think it's part and parcel of the game. If you don't, it's a bit like swearing with your mates. If you're not swearing, you're not enjoying yourself.
Yeah, and it's
to a degree.
I don't know. It was nice to go back to games like they used to be, with a harder difficulty. But I don't know, man. It's really still not my thing. So the DLC, I mean, they're waiting like 2 years to bring this stuff out.
It is.
Yeah. When I'm done with the game, I'm pretty much done with it at that point.
That's fair enough. The most interesting point to me, it's the price point they've been cheeky enough to give out, 35 quid.
And they will get that though. People will pay it.
They probably will pay it, but I find it a lot of money.
Well, actually,
it could be very well worth it.
I was about to say, it's not the price point. I think it's the price point versus what's on offer. And me and VJ were discussing on this. VJ, didn't they say it's the same size as Lingrave? So if you are aware of the game and you know Lingrave, you all know roughly how big that is.
That's pretty huge.
VJ?
I think, I mean, I played Elden Ring. Just so you know, I kind of played Elden Ring with Removable. And I almost stopped playing it, so I can kind of understand where Wilmy's coming from. But Removable sort of encouraged me to continue playing it. And
I
when
said
I
I'd stop
saw,
talking to you if you didn't finish it.
yeah, well, I should have finished it.
That's an
I
incentive.
was playing it with Fort Boy, so I mean, you can already tell how that went.
Oh well, you've just given yourself the biggest handicap in the world there, haven't you? It's
Oh
like,
yeah, but it was one big spastic gaming session.
you might as well just go around naked with no armor and just go, well, that's just
Well,
fine.
that's kind
Let's
of
go.
what he did. Yeah, and I had to watch, and it was my eyes still hurt from this day. But you know, it is what it is.
But I mean, off the bat, the price point does seem high for DLC, considering that the base game was $60. But then, if you look into it a little bit deeper, if you take like The Witcher, the DLC that they afforded you and obviously this is several years ago, and Bloodborne DLC, etc., you've got to take into consideration that the fact that From Software does give you a bang for your buck, so to speak. But it was a bit perturbing to see that the base game was $60, and a lot of people argue, well, it was probably worth 70 and probably would have still perhaps sold. And this is only half the price. The issue is that well, there's two sides of it. From Software always give you value for money. That's a given if you've played their games, etc. I mean, he came out and said, oh, you can finish. What was it? When did he say? He said that Elden Ring will take you 30 hours to complete. Right, I ended up spending 150 hours, so he's quite modest in that sense. And even though it is a little bit bigger than the Limgrave area, we just don't know, as Removal was just pointed out, the breadth and depth of what is actually happening in Limgrave, because the actual main game doesn't just feature the overworld. There's an underworld to it as well in terms of, and it's huge. The interesting thing for me is that I just heard it's £35 in the UK. I don't know what the RRP was for the game when it originally released. It was $60 here.
£60, I think it was.
£60. So you're paying
over
over half the price, right? Like 3/5 or something. In America, it was $60 plus tax, or $60 if you buy it. Where I live in California, there's no sales tax, right? If you buy it digitally, and obviously the DLC is $40, which is 2/3 of the RRP. But what's interesting for me, and this has got nothing to do with erdtree DLC, because it might be fantastic and well worth the money, is that in Japan, the RRP for the DLC is 4,400 yen, which actually translates to $30. And I'm not taking in consideration 4,400 yen, according to today's exchange rate, notwithstanding, is only £23. Now, but it is also to take into consideration that in Japan, From Software is the publisher. The exchange rate does play a part in this, because historically it was 200 yen to the pound and 100 yen to the US dollar. So you got to take that into consideration. But it's also got to figure into the whole equation that Bandai Namco are the publisher of note overseas, right, out for the rest of the world outside of Japan. But it's just sort of being aware of it. It's not judging what the.
So you think Bandai Namco could be the one that's maybe buffing up the actual price?
Well, you put an interesting tweet, which I wouldn't have been aware of if you hadn't, was the fact that From Software, as I've told you, it made sense, because historically I've known that From Software have always had a design a bit like Platinum Games to become a publisher, which is a really difficult thing to do, and to do it properly. Even Bungie will tell you, right, because they're not very good at publishing either. That's why the marriage with Sony was so critical for them. But I think that it's partly to do with Bandai, and partly to do with the fact that From Software bought back the rights for Elden Ring from Bandai, and they've pretty much thinking, you know what, this may be our one big chance to convert 25 million unit sales, which a lot of them were physical as well. And if 25% of those people, and you have to look at Phantom Liberty, was it from the Cyberpunk developer? That sold what 3 million units in the last count at $30. So I would say, and you can disagree, but I'd say that Elden Ring probably has a stronger fan base, a more embedded fan base, or a more loving
also
fan base.
It's got a new fan base as well. It brought in a hell of a lot of new players as well, who actually loved it as well, which was surprising.
I'll just finish my point. Is that so? If you take 20 or 25 million, you know that if Phantom Liberty has sold 3 million, then they're going to sell 5 million units, and 5 million units at another $10 a unit is $50 million, and it probably covers the cost of the whole From Software, development costs for the last 2 years and more, right? So
And becoming a publisher, isn't it?
It's a numbers game, yeah. And you never know when you're going to have your next most successful game, right? Where the next game sells 20 million, it's an anomaly for them. So I think there's lots of details as to why this may have occurred, but at the end of the day, it's a business decision, right? Where they've got all the data in order to make that, and like you just said, removable, and even Wilmy said that people will pay it, So especially given the cost of everything else that's gone up in the US, especially in California. I can't speak for where Wilmy is, but it's insane that how quickly the cost of living has increased. And Wilmy, feel free to add to that.
You don't want to know how much the price of living's gone up here in the US, dude. It's like
I know, I do know about California. That's where I live, but I'm not sure what part of the US you live in.
I'm in North Carolina, right on the coast. The great thing about here, men want to be macho and carry all the groceries in one trip. It's easy to carry $500 of groceries in one trip now.
It's just one bag.
Wow. $500?
Yeah, dude,
What's that work out in pounds? Wow, that's fucking crazy.
650 quid.
Yeah, I mean, it's
seriously
it's divided by, not multiplied by.
I think that's a lot of the reasons why you keep seeing these game companies laying off so many people.
Yeah.
So because like today, God, I can't think of the name of them. They're laying off employees.
Oh, who was it? Oh, so hang on. Oh,
they make the horror game.
Yeah, something. Yeah,
I can't think of it. Who was it?
Borderlands game? Did you say?
No, it's a
I mean, I know that a lot of people are laying people, but studios do go through this cycle where they produce big games. They do get a little bloated. They can't always see the wood for the trees, and it does take executives to say, "Look, your next game's not out until XYZ, so you don't need QA, you don't need full production teams. You really just need your concept, the conceivement process, and you need pre-production, and you can rehire those people later because
that's what they do, isn't it? Yeah, they do. We have it else. We have it the same place where we are. We lost a whole load of staff. And then when it got to a stage where we needed them back again, they basically went and said, "Oh, we can just rehire you," and that's what they did. And it is a cycle that happens in other industries where they'll effectively only hire people instead of the entirety of the project, for the part of the project that they're needed for, which is not brilliant in my opinion. I can understand it from a business point of view, because it's like, well, you don't want them just sitting around potentially not doing nothing. I would argue you'd put them on another part of a job that needs them, or another game or something that would potentially do that. But yeah, it's a common practice in not just the gaming industry.
In all industries, yeah. There's ebbs and flows, and I'm surprised there's not even more layoffs at Sony. Given how closely together many of their first-party games were released during 2018, 19, and 20, I want to say, or maybe 17, 18, and 19. And I'm surprised there hasn't been more layoffs because, games just take so long to develop now. I can't talk for your industry, Removable, but obviously, if people can be transferred from division to division, or if specific specialized jobs and skill sets can't be transferred exactly.
Well, I would argue it's a slight. So the industry I am normally has multiple projects ongoing, and I have just seen it's a slight I would argue it's a slight mismanagement. Instead of hiring enough to be then taken from one job once they finish to be moved onto another job that's maybe ongoing at the same time, and then move them back onto another job that comes across, which really shouldn't, is what you expect from a management system. You'd expect them to kind of manage enough of a teams where they could be moved from one place to another to ensure they've always got work, rather than say hire, fire based on those things. I think that's more of a mismanagement aspect to it. The trouble is that mismanagement isn't just in the gaming industry, it is actually in a lot of industries, and I've never understood the reasoning behind it. And maybe it's a financial thing. Maybe there is, I don't know, maybe there's a tax break that helps them if they're below a certain threshold just before the April or the tax requirement. They get a bigger benefit or something like that. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if it's something along those lines. It does it's a practice I'm not happy with, but I don't know enough about it to kind of argue why it shouldn't be that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so if you take Wilmy, I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking. You may not be able to say anything, but like obviously the industry that you're in, you've probably got some very key management, and then depending on whether you win contracts or lose contracts, etc. I'm not sure exactly how your industry works, but then I'm sure that there's a segment of workers there that are contractors, right? That come in for a period of time for a given gig, so to speak.
Well, with what I do have some government contracts. Some of mine are with real estate agents, brokers, private lenders. I work with a little bit of everybody. But as far as my work goes, and if you've seen me at all, you know what I do. It's kind of crazy. I also work with police departments, a couple of funeral homes. Sadly.
Go on, Wilmy. Tell VJ what you do.
Well, I own I'm what you call an extreme cleaner. I do bio, hoarding. I mean, you name it, we clean it up, brains to trash.
There you go.
You sound like the guy
we may go out at 10 o'clock at night and scrape, some guy's brains off a wall that pulled a Kurt Cobain, and the next day we may go out and get rid of a hoarded house, which we do a lot of hoarded homes, a lot.
Really? Oh, okay.
Way too many. And I hate to say this because, everybody loves to hate somebody on social media. I'm the kind of person, I don't give a flying fiddler's fuck if you hate me or not. When the economy goes bad, I actually make more money.
Yeah.
Because right now, with COVID and everything that happened, for the last 3-4 years, there was a moratorium on foreclosed properties, on distressed properties. Yep. People were staying in place due to the government. Now that's not an issue. And we've got homes. Honestly, last week, we did 47 evictions.
Wow.
That's just in my state. I operate in 3 states. I work in North Carolina, South Carolina, and New York. I know it's ironic I threw New York in there. That's just in my state locally. We had, let's see, today's Monday. We've knocked out 12 evictions this morning already. That's just here local with my in-house crews, because I have subcontractors that work for me and employees.
Subcontractors, yeah. Would you say that a large percentage of your workforce are subcontractors?
No. Interesting. No, I have 39 full-time employees.
I think it's probably more beneficial to have full-time employees and subcontractors, isn't it, for you? Because then I suspect sounds like you're you know whether your baseline of work is, and if it goes beyond that, you kind of just like put a little bit more pressure on those guys to say, look, let's try and knock out a few more today, rather than just say, as you said, maybe hire a subcontractor that you may or may not know how well they do a job with, at least with your guys. You probably can't.
I travel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I will go check these people out. I train them. I go on jobs with them. I make sure they know what they're doing. I have QC people that drive to these jobs to check them to make sure they're done properly.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 27 years. I've got a reputation in the industry.
Exactly. You can't take a risk on it.
I'm not going to let anybody ruin it. No.
No, definitely.
So that's what I say with like a subcontractor. You potentially, I'm assuming that with a subcontractor, you vet these guys before you do it. But it's probably easier for you with say as with your your own staff, because 99.999% exactly what's going to happen with them.
I was going to say,
the bad part. My daughter works for me, and my daughter grew up doing this. I used to take her to houses with me. All 3 of my kids grew up doing what I do. But my oldest daughter, she went to college.
It's a good skill to have.
She went to college, became
strong
a surgical
stomach.
assistant.
Strong stomach.
And my son, he works in the video game industry. He makes video games. I'm not going to say where.
That's fair enough.
But my youngest daughter still works for me, and she's meaner than I am. She runs a lot of the crews, you know, that are employees.
Add to the throne,
And
will
I
me?
actually have grown men. I've had grown men, 300 pounds, 6'4",
Yeah.
come to me and say, Caitlin upset me. I'm like, are you serious, dude?
Suck it
That
up.
wasn't
She's like 5 foot. She's 5'2", weighs
Hey,
130
It's true.
pounds.
Small women are vicious.
Oh,
It
dude,
is true.
she
They are
she is very
vicious.
vicious. She is very
Removable.
vicious.
She might phone you if she hears this podcast. So be prepared.
Oh,
please.
she's on my podcast. She's in my chat a lot of times. But you know, it's just funny because she's actually meaner than I am, and I'm the owner. So, and I always tell the guys when they make her mad, I'm like, look, when I retire, she's gonna be your boss.
So is she,
Exactly.
is she heir to the throne then? Is she getting the company?
She
Will
does
be.
answer some phone calls.
No, what I mean
Will
is, is she heir to the throne? One day she'll take over and run it down the line. You know, like
yeah.
taking over generational, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's the whole plan, dude.
that's
That's
nice.
why I started this business years ago.
Same with my dad's pest control. Cause that's the idea, that I take over one day and maybe my son starts. But he's only 9 now. But
Well, if you stop falling over and breaking your leg, you might be able to.
yeah, you're right.
I was gonna.
Yeah.
I wanted to
And
ask
see,
Will,
the funny
Will,
part of that is my in-laws, my wife's family owns a gigantic pest control.
Yeah,
company.
you told me about that. You did, yeah. I
Yep.
remember.
And that's boring as fuck, dude. I couldn't do it.
That's fair enough. Nice.
Will me,
You
I'm
want to
not-
be
when you see-
nitty gritty, yeah, and that's sometimes the best way because you know exactly what you see. It's from you see it from the moment of the streets. You see all the problems, the issues, and you can therefore. I suspect, I'm guessing, Will here, that you can then make allowances because you're out there on the streets themselves. You see the problems, the issues, you know, the change of the tides, wherever it may be in terms of, you know, whether it's, you know, cost or, you know, supplies. You're right on the floor, so you can see that. Well, I suspect if you're just someone who's managing from above and doesn't even go down to the shop floor, it's probably harder to kind of work out the potential pitfalls that are coming towards you, whether it's, you know, go on.
And see, the thing is, though, if we find rats and all that stuff at a property,
Yeah,
we take care of them the old-fashioned way. We take a golf club.
fair enough.
Or we've been known to play rat baseball. We'll toss them back and forth, hit them with a baseball bat, you know.
That's fair.
Makes it more entertaining. But I
Are
find stuff
you-
in properties that pest control companies sometimes just don't want to deal with.
Were
You
you
got a
meaner
lot-
when you were younger? Were you meaner and more aggressive? And have you chilled out with age, or have you always been?
Oh,
approximately
dude,
the
I'm gonna
same?
be honest. I was mean and aggressive, and
Yeah.
I did chill out for a couple of years. Then in 2022, when I died in that hospital room, I don't know, and some people don't get it. When I came home, everything was different. I don't know. I look at everything differently now.
I was about to say
used
the
to
outlook
work.
must be pretty shocking for you, isn't it? It's like a
I would-
complete 180.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would work 16, 17 hours a day. And I
Mm.
did that pretty much 6 days a week. Now, I'm not going to lie. I stay in my home office a lot, or in my office. I pay all these other people to go out and do the work.
Mm.
I go on the jobs, I do the bids and all that good stuff. But you know what? Why should I go out there when I'm paying these guys $35 an hour to do it?
That's
Mm.
fair enough. That is.
I'm trying to kick back and enjoy things a little bit more now.
That's good to hear. That is.
I've got one grandson, you know, he's almost 4. I've got a granddaughter on the way. I'm going to sit back a little bit, you know, and just kind of chill out. But it did
Earn
make
a
my-
little bit of a rest that you've managed to pay
yeah.
for.
And my patience has gotten thinner, though, which is kind of weird because I really bite my tongue a lot on social media. I don't
Yeah.
say a whole lot of what I think. I will kind of insinuate a little bit, maybe throw a couple of hints here and there. Like the post I put up the other day making fun of all these people getting rid of their Xboxes.
Yeah.
Sounds like me.
I think I posted I was going to get rid of all my Ford trucks and switch them to Dodges or something. And within 5 minutes, I had all these console warriors in the post that didn't even really read it yet.
Yeah, it's
I had messages being sent to me, one right after the other, and I'm laughing, delete, 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 delete. But yeah, my patience has actually dwindled, but I am a little more relaxed now. I've never let anything get to me really, because I did my time in the military. I've done what I do for all this time. There's nothing that anybody can say to me on social media or in a chat that's really going to upset me. I don't care what it is; it's not going to upset me at all. But yeah,
well, it's not
definitely
in real life, isn't it? Let's face it. If they said it to your face, consequences would be very different.
Dude, if you say to my face, you're
exactly.
teeth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the thing.
no,
It's
Well,
this is
mate,
the thing
well,
where
mate,
people have forgotten that. Like,
wilmyhood was in a store once, wasn't it, Wilmy?
Yep.
With your phone out, and some guy, and you were looking at your page. Do you know that guy is an asshole? And it's me, mate.
Yeah, and I asked him to meet me in the parking lot, and that fucker never did come out.
I love that story. I really do.
And
Most people-
it's the thing, dude. I've got the I don't give a fuck attitude. I was born with it. And I just really don't give a fuck. I never have, and I'm never going to. And it's just it. And I know it. People say, "Oh, it's toxic masculinity." Call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. But if you come to my face and you tell me some of the shit that you type on social media, you may as well just plan on go ahead and calling 911. And
Well, this
because
is the
two things are
thing.
going to happen: either I'm going to whip your ass, or you're going to whip mine.
Exactly. This
But-
is the thing. There is consequences. People say, "Oh, there's consequences for what your speech." Yeah, in real life. On social media, there pretty much isn't. There isn't much, except for a load of people maybe just telling how mean you are. Whereas in real life, and this is the thing. I always say this: if you wouldn't say it in real life, don't post it on social media.
Exactly.
Unremovable, but I would
so
suggest,
pretty much a good thing is that if you're not willing to say it to someone's face, what's the point of posting it on social media?
I think that's the point. Removable, though, most people that will say something on Twitter, and we've talked about this before,
Anonymity.
99% of them won't say that to somebody's face. And I don't condone violence, Wilmy, but at the same time, violence in terms of self-defense perhaps is a form of intelligence. I'm paraphrasing Martin Luther King here, but I'm sure he said something along those lines at some point. You were probably around then. I just think that on Twitter, people.
Dude, I'm not that old.
Probably my age, or probably I don't know if you're my age or not, but we'll talk about that.
I just turned 51 Thursday.
Young.
Then you're 19. You're a 1973 child. Is that right?
Yep, I was born in 73.
Hang on,
And
mate. Removable saying young. How old are you then, Removable?
I'm close to wilmyhood. He's a little bit older than me, but that's why I'm saying young.
Sorry, when was your birthday, Wilmy?
What's that?
When was your? So you were 51 just recently, correct?
Yeah, Thursday last week.
Okay, so we have
I'm
something,
late. I know I'm saying happy birthday on Twitter. Bloody hell.
we have something very much in common then. Well, I'm a little bit older than you, but happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
I'll just do a few shout outs.
You're an old fart.
Welcome to Invade.
mate.
Sorry, just because you do some shout outs, I've missed a few people. Invader Gaming. Welcome. Robbo HTID. Pixel Slapper. Thanks for stopping in. And Dreadpool. Thanks for stopping in.
Hey, Dreadpool.
So,
And can we talk about the impatience thing?
Yeah,
real quick.
Yes,
of course we can.
Because you see, he's being patient.
Because I promised Stubbs I was going to make this entertaining.
Well, it always related to the gaming stuff, really. Well, you know how our podcast is, though.
Oh yeah, it's 100% gaming.
We will talk about anything that one here. Everyone knows that.
Trust me.
The one thing that really burns my ass, right? and I mean, oh God, some people became so entitled in the community, right? That they feel that everything they do, they have to post.
Yep.
And their opinion is so great. I'm here to tell you, if you want to sell your Xbox and you want to stick your dick in your PS5 or in your Steam Deck, the world doesn't fucking care.
Nope.
We really don't. You may have a couple of followers here and there that go, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm going to jump in there too." Nobody cares. Stop dick riding. Okay, it's a thing. Nobody really fucking cares. And I've gotten people that's messaged me talking about, "Oh, what happened to Dealer?" How the fuck do I know? I'm not Dealer's cousin. I'm not his fucking keeper. I was on, and yes, I've been on RDX. I don't know how many times, but I'm going to say this, and everybody can go back and screenshot it, send it to Dealer. I don't give a flying fiddler's fuck. I was never invited back on RDX after I got out of the hospital. See, the weird part is when you're in this community, right?
Yeah.
I was doing podcasts every fucking day. I did like 8 or 9 a week. The funny part of it was within 1 year, I gave out roughly around $90-some thousand. That was to all these different channels and all these different creators. And Daz is sitting in the chat, probably knowing about some of the ones I'm talking about. I was giving money to their channels for giveaways, doing all this different stuff, donating to charity. There's a couple of motherfuckers that are still on the air because I sent them the money for the equipment.
Yeah.
Salty.
Oh, I was about to say that. Yeah. Yeah.
The fucker's microphones, webcam, his routers, everything I paid for.
Wilmy,
right?
what moved you to do that in the first place?
Being a decent human being, I suspect.
No.
Because see, I grew up with nothing. And I mean literally with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not one of those assholes, that did well and just, tries to keep it to himself. I try to help out people. And I was helping out these other guys, with their channels. I gave away 24 VR sets within a month. All these different podcasters, I sent them the money to get VR units. And the irony to all of it is this. When I got out of that hospital in 2022, it's been a year and a half ago, the only people that contacted me the entire time, because, I disappeared from social media for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had Boom text me and try to call me, and the Iron Lords. Nobody else out of
Iron Lords. Yeah, they are good. Yep.
Out of every single fucking asshole that I tried to help out and help promote and everything else, not one of the communist cocksucking pig fucking freaks bothered to contact me at all. None. Not
What
one.
is it we say? What is it we say on this channel? Constantly removable.
What's that?
About people in general.
We say a lot of things.
not entirely that different. I know that obviously Wilmy is very well educated in using colourful language, which we tend to veer away from. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm ex-military. I'm a combat vet. I say the first words that pop into mind.
The most controversial words that we use in here on this channel is stuff like, I don't know, knicker wetting, something along those lines.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
That's about as high tempo as we get as we get on here.
I work at like fine paint.
Yeah, I always like to be the what I'd call be the dissenting person there to ask. I'll look at it from the other side. Clearly, these people who didn't talk to you. One of the things that I've always found a bit dubious is when someone's had a bad accident or something like that. I try to give. I've never always wanted to call them straight away. I wanted to give them time with their families and friends. That did these people ever make an effort later on down the line? Nope. Say.
Not even once.
That would be annoying me. That would be.
And the bad part is, I even reached out to them after I was well, and they still never returned the messages or anything else. One of them did like 3 months later, and that was the end of that. But the thing is this, and I don't try to be an ass. I really don't. I say what's on my mind, but I'm not trying to be an asshole towards
Mm-hmm.
anybody directly. But when you try to be good to people, normally they come back and slap you in the face. A lot of them do.
Yep.
And I did learn a lesson. And like I said, Boom, I talked to Boom several times right after I got home. The Iron Lords, I talked to King David. All those guys were checking on me. Other than that, that was it. And I just, I was a little uptight about it at first. Then I was like, you know what? That should have taught me a lesson to begin with.
Well, no, I was about to say, now what it has taught you, if anything, is I know it's an old saying, but you've found who your true friends are at the end of it. You know the ones who will hold you, look after you or have your back should anything ever. I'm not saying I hope it never will, but I think ever go wrong. You know exactly who will have your back through this, regardless.
And then, and I got to say this one. Here's another one that really made me mad. There's a dude in the community. I'm not going to say his name, but this motherfucker was actually brave enough to ask. He put up a GoFundMe for $450,000.
I'm not naming, but I know who it is.
Okay. Now,
I don't speak to them anymore. Anyway,
what he didn't realize was, I've got a lot of people on social media that followed him. Me personally, I keep him muted because there's just too much drama. It just doesn't interest me at all. But the thing was, somebody sent me a screenshot, and the screenshot clearly was him talking to someone else on a timeline saying, oh, well, I'm going to take Wilmy's slot, for Gaming Beyond the Box Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock.
Ooh.
And the other guy laughed about it and goes, fuck it, like he needs it anymore anyway. He'll probably be dead next week. The thing is, if I wasn't older, I would be willing to fly to this bastard's house because I got that kind of money. I would fly to this cocksucker's house and punch him in the mouth.
I wouldn't bother because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. You've done the exactly right thing, in my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. What's the point of wasting your time over someone like that?
Yeah, the intelligent thing would be to ignore it.
Well, the intelligence thing.
I can understand. Yeah, I can understand.
The kumbaya only lasts so long.
It's not even kumbaya. It's not kumbaya. Do you know what's going to egg them more? Doing what you're doing now, enjoying yourself, having a good time, and rolling in the money that you're making. That's what's going to piss them off. Do you know what's pissed them off? Is the fact that you're succeeding in your business, clearly you're succeeding in your podcast, and clearly you've succeeded in getting your health back, which we all thank God it has happened. And so whilst you're still having fun, that's going to grate them, and that's probably the best thing ever. Was it the old saying, VJ, you're saying, the best medicine is laughing at someone when they're angry at you?
I think Rune, you make a point there that the people that obviously I don't know who they are, but Wilmy's referring to, were already in a bad place.
Stubz already knows.
I know exactly.
We're already fundamentally miserable, right? In terms of whatever Wilmy's stand. I don't know the history of it, but I think my takeaways from Wilmy that he's led a very specific life, and he's had a very specific experience a couple of years ago when he's come out of hospital that to some degree has changed his personality. But fundamentally, I think for young people, and he's talked about people that try to gather momentum on Twitter or social media or clout or whatever it's called. But fundamentally, what I'm understanding from here is that the lesson that he's learned, and to a degree myself as well, is that allowing what other people say or do to affect how you feel or how you react has got to be the biggest violation, right? So in life generally, it doesn't matter what's happening in and around you out there, because it's going to happen. It happened before you were alive. It's going to happen 500 years after you're gone. It doesn't matter. The point is that whatever's happening, if you allow it to affect you, then you're the one at fault, right? And if you can master that, then you'll be fine. Whether you've got
it's the old adage,
something or you've got nothing whatsoever. Like I've had similar circumstances to when we're growing up with absolutely bugger all. Even my wife,
I had a more
she grew up with with no shoes, right, until she was about 10. So it's interesting to hear, because I don't know you, Wilmy, at all. Only what I hear from Stubbs, and he loves to serenade his friends. So
well, see, the funny part, I thought about doing this a different way, because I do deal with real estate every day. I actually found where these people live, and I found out they live in a rented house. I seriously thought about contacting their landlord and purchasing the house.
Wilmy, come on.
I'm not joking. My wife could tell you the same thing.
No, I know, Wilmy, but you wouldn't do that. I think you're.
I think if there's a button where some people would go.
Yeah,
you're wrong, dude. I would do that.
No.
And I will admit that I would have done that.
I know you would, but given your experiences, given your age now, and so on and so forth, I'd think that, given the experiences that you'd be, and I'm just doing what Removable's doing, playing devil's advocate and saying you'd be. You'd know that in yourself, you don't want to be the people that you despise, and for that, I sense that underneath all of this, your personality, that you're a generous man. You may not be as generous as you once were, because you know that people don't often appreciate what you do for them, because you're not doing it for selfish reasons. But at the same time, there's a kind-heartedness there, right? Not a good person, but I think good also has a bias tendency or a leniency towards it, but a kind person, and to be, to sort of let things go, because ultimately what are these people really doing, right? What can they do to you? Nothing. All they're really doing is, like most human beings, everybody, and even more so today in this day and age, want to be heard, and they can't speak to many people because people don't want to listen to what they have to say, so they spout on social media, right, etc., and so on and so forth. I think you've got a lot of wisdom.
Are you a therapist by any chance? Because you sound just like the therapist they tried to send me to at the VA clinic.
I don't know what a VA.
You're a good person.
I only measure a therapist. No.
I know where VJ's coming is. I think.
No, I get it too, but no, in a way you're partially correct. I donate money, all kinds of charities here local. We donate money to children every Christmas.
This is the stuff
Jesus
I want
Christ, I can't think of all the different donations I send out a month.
Well, this is the thing. This is what probably brings so many people who care about you, deeply do care about you in the gaming community. They probably don't mention it, or they probably don't feel like they have the authority to come up and say these things, because that's another thing. I think some people are they're shy in some terms of their expressions, but I think you've got a lot more people out there who than not who probably do care about you in these guys. And my gut feeling, at least my feeling, and seeing how people would interact with you, is that I think there are generally more people who would be willing to to look after you regardless than the bad apples. But the trouble is, as usual with anything, the bad apples are the ones that are the loudest.
Oh yeah,
and social media are going to ruin it for everybody else. And ironically, it's the quieter, probably more decent human beings who don't really say a lot, but probably are there on your every single show, who probably don't say much or continue to watch regardless, even when they say when you after the event or something like that. I think those are the sort of people which we probably don't realize are there, and I think you probably have a hell of a lot more than you realize. So don't let these, bad apples get you down too much. I don't think they would anyway. But I'm just saying I think, I can understand, what has happened and why, it's a little bit of bitterness there. I think there's a little bit of bitterness there, but it's justifiable bitterness, because let's face it, you've been burnt, and it's not nice being burnt. But what
considering the fact the guy's first podcast, he was actually a guest on mine. So,
but I think what's good about you is that you've proven that you're still thriving. You're enjoying yourself. Clearly, you're having a good time. I can see that in your tone. You're enjoying yourself. Yeah, it's a little bit of bitterness there, but to be honest, you're happy. You're enjoying life, and it sounds like you're finally relaxing a bit. I wouldn't say, to a degree, you're not doing your 17 hours a day. You kind of stepped a little back. And do you feel happy in yourself in general? Do you feel that you're much more?
Yeah, I should have done this a lot sooner.
One says
but
that,
the bad
though.
part, the bad part, dude,
is,
it
do you
literally.
find it addicting? Because this is the thing over, at least within the UK, people have said to me, it's like, when are you planning on retirement? It's like, I don't think I can.
I don't know if I could retire yet, but
do you know what I'm saying?
Financially, I could.
You're used to kind of working day in, day out. To stop,
I would be bored.
That's exactly it. This is the people I've said to the same people. It's like, do you ever think about quitting or retiring? It's like, no, I don't think I could. I think I'll probably end up in a coffin before I retire.
I'll put it this way, and Stubbs and I were talking about this when we went live. Because he keeps getting hurt with the bedroom Olympics.
Oh, he does, yeah.
When I first got home, that's all I was able to do was sit and play video games. And dude, I'm here to tell you, staying home and playing video games all day sounds great.
It gets boring
when you
fast.
say that.
Yeah.
But when you're actually forced to do that, they kind of wear thin on your patience after a few weeks. You're like,
it does.
Oh,
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
Like,
What
I
everyone
really
dreams
gotta play
about.
this again.
And then when you actually get there, you get, oh, fuck, you're getting fed up now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just like, it's your dream to be able to do it. And then when you're doing it, you're like, damn, I really don't want to play games today. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. I want to go do this.
Exactly.
But to change gears real quick, because that's enough of the therapy session. Sorry, Stubbs.
It's all right. It's been a good conversation. Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm glad. But another thing that really is funny with social media lately is all these people that branded to Xbox. Xbox was their life. They had Xbox in their Twitter profile. It was all over social media.
Yeah.
They were Team Green.
Team Green.
But now all of a sudden, 4 games go over to PlayStation and Nintendo. Now they're screaming, crying, and acting like grown children.
I'll put that trailers on.
I just want a video from some of these dudes. I want to see their significant other react to what they post on social media.
Exactly. So.
That's all I want. I want to know if these guys are married, because the bad part, some of them are my age or older. I want to see what their wives think about what they post online with this shit.
Well, I would assume it's a bit like football or soccer. Everyone's got their team, and when their team doesn't win, you have a tantrum. And people are just like, yeah, okay. It's this is a cycle that goes on regardless whether what it is. If you're a fanboy over something, your fanboy is your soccer team, your political team, your any team that you particularly want. When it doesn't do well, you scream and shout and act a little bit childish, and then you'll probably go back to it again. This happened in the Commodore Spectrum era in the 1980s. There are people I knew people who would beat the crap out of each other over what's better, Commodore or Spectrum, and it's the same thing over here with the PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. It's all the same sort of. I just find it tiring. As you get older, you just like
PC players
why?
don't. PC players don't really have fanboy mentalities. They don't.
Oh, they
operate.
do. They do.
They don't.
They do.
Some
They
do.
do.
Yeah.
Oh, they do. PC
human
Master
nature.
Race is a whole fanboy
Yeah,
system.
but it's
in
more of a
itself.
joke. It's not serious though.
There's some out there that do. Trust me, I've
yeah.
I have friends who are PC fanboys, and they will literally like, I will not touch a console. That dirty thing. I will not go even near it.
When I
there are.
posted pictures of my Origin PC, when I had it built and they shipped it to my house, because this thing weighs like 90 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? It cost me almost $7,000 to have built.
Wow. Damn. that was
And when I
definitely
posted
good.
pictures of it on Twitter, I had people commenting going, "You're a bitch because you didn't build it yourself."
Oh, there you go. That's
What?
it. Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? That's great, because not all of us had the time to do that.
Luke's arrived.
Exactly.
PC Master Race. Luke's still.
Yeah, exactly. Not all of us had the time to sit down and build a PC. And let me tell you, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I had to sit down and build it, this bitch would shoot water out of it when I turned it on. I wouldn't know where to even start. Well, at least I wouldn't have had. I know a little more about it now. But yeah, there's fanboys in everything. I don't care what it is.
Yeah. It is. And the trouble is, once you realize the fanboyism and what, I just find it tiring as I get older. I was like, I haven't got the energy. I probably was a little bit of a fanboy when I was younger, especially when it came to PCs. Obviously, the Commodore and Spectrum, I may have partaken in that as a bit of a young idiot. But as I've gotten older, I've just like, it's just so tiresome. Surely you've got more. I haven't got the energy to have that sort of, aggression. It's just too. It's like, really,
Especially over a
I've got more
hobby.
things to do.
But for most people,
Especially over a hobby. That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah,
It's-
it's
that's
just
the
like,
thing. It's something. Everything's there to be enjoyed, but fundamentally, if you look at human nature, people get attached to something or the other, whether it's video games or whether it's removable, said it may be a sport, or even a religion. Fundamentally, all of these things, the consequence ultimately is division and conflict.
Oh, that's
And
another good one. Don't ever mention that on social media.
Yep.
I mean, but the thing is, it's just logical, right? At the end of the day, you only have to look back at history to see, the nature of people. You don't. What people don't really understand is that all your attachments, yeah, you can have them.
It's a form
you
of
can own them,
tribalism. And
but they can never fundamentally be you, right? It can
No.
be yours, but they can't be you. And people forget who they are. And that's why, as Removable said, when people go to sports and their team loses and all hell breaks loose, you really are seeing the true nature of how your civilization is no different, right? Whether you live here or in another country, it's just your civilization that you're born in, and the culture, and all cultures are fundamentally flawed, right? In the terms of how they to cultivate. Well, there's too many words with seeds and culture, cultivator, and civilized, right? I need to change up my vocabulary a little
we've
bit.
evolved over tribalism, and tribalism is part of us,
Well,
regardless of which
yeah,
era
but I
we're
mean,
in.
yeah, if you take tribalism away, and nationalism is tribalism now, right? There's
As I
no
said, it's
real
exactly, it doesn't matter whatever it is, it's a form of tribalism where my
and the thing-
team is against your team, and that's it.
But the point.
Well,
but
the
point I
funny
will
part about
make-
that, I've got two friends of mine. Adam is one,
Leave?
and no, Adam is one, and Jim is the other. We grew up together, and we're best of friends forever.
Mm.
And in North Carolina, we have multiple basketball teams. That's just the thing here. And one is a Tar Heel fan. The other one is a Duke fan. These two guys will not speak to each other anymore.
Really?
At all. Yes. They were sending me text messages because now get this. My friend Adam, he owns a landscaping company, right? My friend Jim owns a heating and air company. Adam would actually text me and go, "Hey man, can you do me a favor? What? What's up? Can you see if Jim can run by the house?" You a grown ass man, you text Jim, dude. You text him. I'm not your referee.
Yeah.
But yeah, we all three grew up together, and they will not talk still to this day.
You see,
They
now
will
I've
not
got,
talk to each other.
I've got the friends that I have who are, well, I use football over here, but the friends I have who've got opposing football teams, they'll argue, they'll take the piss at each other, but at the very end, they'll still go down to the pub for a pint with each other. And they will absolutely take the piss right out of each other for, oh, your team won this, your team was losing, you did this, da 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 da. But right at the end of it, they'll be like, let's go for a pint. Because they know that it's just football for them, but at the same time, their friendship's more worth than that one disagreement. And I think it's the same thing with certain ideologies. Some people are just like, do you know what? I don't care what your ideology is. If you're nice to me and you're good to me, I'll be your friend. And some people are like, no.
But Removable, you're talking about, I agree with what you say to a degree, but remember, you're someone who's reasonably intelligent, and probably about 1% of the British people are. And
you know,
it's
you
not
too
that.
much credit, dude. Come on now.
No, it's just that most people, whatever your attachment is, it can become unhealthy, right? And most people take their attachments and turn them into a fictional or a canon world. And with social media today, Wilmy, I know you mentioned Twitter and some other stuff. I think it's true. A wise man once said that technology has or will, surpass our humanity. And the more I'm listening to what you say, and ever since I joined Twitter, I realized very, very quickly that that notion is truer now than it's ever been.
And just think, it's just getting started.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing that I think we're a generation. Me, you, and Wilmy. Stubz is a bit younger, but we're a generation that came in probably around, when we were just about adults. Social media turned up for us, and we're struggling with it. So you can only imagine how the youngsters are going to get through this. We're still struggling with how to manage social media and the way it helps probably elevate the darkest parts of our humanity. We're struggling with that, and until we learn around with it, how the youngsters are going to deal with this, I have no idea. I think, what was it recently? Is it California? They say they're proposing like a law to kind of stop social media for under 18s. I think that's a good idea.
Well, yeah, but unless they make you force government IDs, kids just can lie and make up birthdays. It's not difficult.
I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a good start, because let's face it, we as adults struggle with social media.
Kids do that here, though. If they're 13 to have a social media, you just make a birthday.
I know, but I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, it's not the perfect solution, and until they do, they come up with, I don't know, maybe it's like some sort of, there is an alternative solution to doing it, but something in place is better than nothing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, just look at us as adults struggling with it. How are we expecting children to kind of deal with that?
All three of my kids, my oldest, she turns 30 in a couple of months. My son, he's 26, and my youngest daughter, she's only 24. They really don't use social media that much, believe it or not. They're on Snapchat. Of course, I've got 2 daughters, so they're on Snapchat and Instagram. But my son, he doesn't use social media at all. He's got a Facebook page. Yeah. He's not been on it in like 4 years. He's got a Twitter account. He's not been on that in probably 3 or 4 years. He doesn't even mess with it.
No,
so
that's a good thing. Is that something that you've taught him, or is that something that he's just progressively just like?
When they were younger, of course, when they were born and they were small, that's when social media was just starting. I really didn't let them have social media accounts, because that's back when Tom was around from MySpace.
Yeah,
and I would not let my girls go on MySpace. I stress to them very much that whatever you put online stays online permanently. It doesn't go away.
Yep.
And to this day, dude, my 2 girls really don't even mess with it either. They'll go, and they're on TikTok, but they don't post anything. They'll watch videos or whatever. And
yeah, it's more for entertainment rather than posting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't get the TikTok thing. Everything I see on there is just advertisements.
Yeah, that's probably the better way of dealing with it. Without a doubt, it's a much more healthier way of dealing with it. I mean, we have now social media. What's the first thing that's right beside your bed when you wake up? It's your phone. In 9 times out of 10. I'm not saying everyone does it, but your phone's right next to you. What's the first thing? And within the first 5 minutes, your thumb's probably swiped onto the social media app. I've caught myself doing this, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it's literally what most people may not realize, but you probably don't hear much from me at weekends. It's because I literally put the phone away, and I'm like, do not touch it. And it's like, do you know what? It's a much better system. Once you start limiting yourself from social media, I would say your sanity starts to come back to you.
Well, Daz says that Stubz has a dildo inside his bed.
He ain't denying it, though, is he, Stubz?
No, that's a neck massager. He'll have you know.
Same difference.
Stiff neck.
I bet it is stiff.
You see, that's why he's gone very quiet, our Stubz. He's too busy.
I was talking. Is it on fucking mute? It was.
Yeah,
I was talking. Is it on fucking mute? It was.
yeah.
Oh, that works really well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How many podcasts have you done, Stubbs? You should know not to, mute yourself by now.
I
Then.
know. It's on the actual microphone.
Well, still, you should know how to work that microphone by now.
I know.
Jeez.
I forgot I muted it. I did.
But yeah, dude, it's funny because I'm watching a lot of these so-called content creators going at each other on social media. I think it's kind of funny because, a month ago they were friends and now they're like bitter enemies to the end. Knowing damn good well they're never going to meet each other in person. Very slim chance of that.
This is the thing that I've noticed, and this is something as a podcaster yourself. For those who don't know, please do check out Wilmy's podcast. As a podcaster yourself, do you find it easier? In a way, I'm always a bit suspicious of when former friends start going at each other because I kind of wonder, and this is my cynicism, if they're using it for clicks, using it to build up drama, because obviously drama helps bring across
I say
content and views to a degree. Do you find that becoming more prominent, or is that just something? Do you find that in your head?
I think so because I've always said, negativity brings
Sells.
clicks.
Oh, yeah.
It sells. Why do you think
It's
news
like a car
channels
crash.
do it?
You drive by a car crash. What's the one thing that happens at a car crash? There's a tail. There's always a tail. There's always traffic on a car crash. Why? Because people are interested in the bad stuff that happens. And it's the same thing on social media. If something bad happens, you can guarantee it's a hell of a lot more traffic to it than saying
you can put out. You can put out, and I did it the other day with that tweet I mentioned earlier, just to see what kind of response I would get. That tweet blew up fast. And I could put on there, well, I'm not selling my Xbox or whatever, or I'm not selling my PS5, and nobody's going to respond. If you put on there, oh my God, I'm selling such and such, you will have the bots coming in. You'll have all these people come in and tell you why you're wrong. And then you'll have the people clicking on it just to see what you did say. You'll get the occasional one that pays attention, but negativity brings clicks with everything. That's why everything's so negative. IGN, all these gaming websites.
Oh, God, yeah.
And the bad part, you tell people, stop sharing their shit. Stop clicking on it. They'll stop. Some of these dumbass accounts, like, what's this dude's name? Japan Hates Xbox or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, if you quit sharing his stuff and quit going on his post to talk to him, he'll stop.
Exactly.
A lot of these dudes will stop.
Japan hates Japan in general. I mean, I know it's a troll account, but in general, Japan actually doesn't really like consoles. In general, they're more mobile and tablet-based countries for gaming.
Oh yeah, and because their internet speeds are like 30 times faster than ours.
That's mainly their thing for gaming, but it just people.
Although they do some weird gaming over there too that we don't have here, luckily.
The thing is,
I saw a show where a dude has
well over here though. You know for a fact it would sell well.
He has a dating game. He's in love with a girl on this game that he dates. It's like a
waifu dating
for a woman.
All I would say is that I know we're talking about another culture, but you should know this, Wilmy, better than anyone. But traveling destroys and dispels many illusions that we have, right, of other civilizations.
Yeah, and then also you learn some that you didn't know before.
This is true.
Well, yeah, I agree that traveling may dispel and destroy illusions and can create more illusions. I agree with that.
Well, I learned something, and I'm going to say this, and Stubbs, you'll probably get a lot of clicks for this one. Me personally, I don't care what anybody's preferences are. I don't care if you're gay, straight, Hispanic, born again Christian. I don't care what you are. Right? I have a brother that is openly gay. I have cousins that are gay. I have all kinds of people in my family.
Yeah.
But I always find it hilarious when you get people on social media. Everything that ever happens, they have to stand behind it, right? And I thought it was so funny. And I don't get involved because everybody knows I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
I don't believe in anything imaginary, tooth fairy, Bigfoot, none of it. So I don't really have an opinion on a lot of world events. And I thought it was hilarious when the whole Israel thing came out, and I started seeing LBG supports, Hamas. And I'm sitting back going, have you never been there? Because the simple, if you ever go over there, they will kill you.
That's what they classify as useful idiots.
You can support, but you better keep doing it from your middle class suburban white person house. Because once you go over there and you start talking shit, you're dead. I literally stood in Baghdad and watched them push 2 gay men off a roof.
Wow. Damn.
And that was their only crime. They were gay. And keep in mind, when I served, Bill Clinton was our president for a while when I was still in active military. So Bill Clinton had passed that law, don't ask, don't tell. We served with a lot of gay people. I watched a lot of people cringe and want to get the hell away from Iraq. But it's just funny to me because people will support things and never really know the truth. Or, you see what I'm saying? And this works with gaming just like it does every other topic in the world.
It's slight naivety is what I think it is. And as you said, they're called useful idiots because they've been sold something, so they believe it, and therefore they repeat it. And therefore they repeat it enough times, they think it's true. Whether
it's just weird to me, dude. I don't understand.
Well, you're coming from a critical thinking perspective. And as VJ often tells me, that's critical thinking. I don't classify myself critical thinking. I'm more of an idiot in my head. But for those like yourselves and VJ who have critical thinking, seeing someone without critical thinking is strange because you're like, how can you not see this? How is it not fathoming in your brain? And that's the problem, isn't it? Because it's not everybody has those skills. We like to think that everyone's born with critical thinking skills. But they're not.
We would like to, but yeah, sadly the world doesn't work that way.
No, but
I just find it weird.
It just goes back to what you said earlier, removable. We've come from an age where we didn't even have internet, right? Let alone social media.
No.
And the point is that another comment you made 2 weeks ago, removable. I was talking about memory, etc., and you said, well, compared to 20 years ago when you remembered dozens of phone numbers, etc., you've got a lot more to remember now, so your memory's being stretched, let's say, for a better word. So what you've got today, fundamentally speaking, is that you've got so much going on at such a speed. What are those hamster wheels? Everybody's got their hamster wheel. That's their whole world, running at 100 miles an hour, and they think that is it. That's the goal. If I keep running as fast as anyone else, I'll get to the top and sod the rest. And the problem is that we're not taught to. I don't know what they're teaching in schools these days, but we're not being taught to utilize our minds correctly. There's got to be something fundamentally wrong, right, in the way that education is set up. But you've got everybody now who just lives in the moment, right? It's not fashionable, and people think they have no time to step back and observe what's happening and to digest what's happening, and then to come up with a possible theory or a suggestion that will be heard. Because by the time you do all of that, it's been drilled into you, it will be too late and no one will care. And that's harking back to something that Wilmy said at the start of the show. So it's, and you raise your kids in a certain way. Wilmy's, has his experiences. Some we know, some we don't have. Stubz has his, you have yours.
Yeah.
And we see the world with different optics. We're able to step back from the noise, and to a degree, I mean, I wouldn't say we're the best. We try to think in a critical way to come out with the kindest, the most positive, and the most long-term strategies to become better people. It doesn't always work. It's not always right, and someone can think of the best idea within a moment, but that's very few and far between. We're very rare. And unfortunately, we're just in a society, in a culture that I just see people that are in their own little hamster wheels, just trying to run as quickly as possible, and their legs will give out, minds will give out before they stop running.
You just reminded me actually of there was an interview with Denzel Washington on the red carpet, and he exactly encapsulates that very technique. He says so many people want to be first, but instead of factually true, they just want to be the very first person to say something rather than actually take their time, work out what's true, and then do it because it's too late by then.
We are
I'm
biggest
paraphrasing his actual conversation,
No,
but it's
the
exactly that.
sentiment, I think everybody grasps removable.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't matter the words you use, because when
As long
you
as you're
speak,
first, yeah. Yeah.
no, it's not that. It doesn't matter sometimes the vocabulary that you use. Even Stubbs can use the worst vocabulary. I can use it as well. But the thing is, it's the inflection point is that it's the intent, right? Because see, what Wilmy is saying is that people go onto Twitter, they say what they want to say, and none of it's either true or right, or it may even be, but it's the intent behind it that you can feel. You can feel the vibration of what people are saying, and it's often cutting and it's often offensive, even if they use sarcasm and so on and so forth. It's all okay in the right places, but if they can feel it's the vibration and the intent that they put behind the words that they use, and you can say some beautiful words in a completely different language and I will understand, but you can feel it, right? You can feel the vibration. That's why I speak to very few people, because very few people mean what they actually say, even the nicest people that you meet. And Wilmy will tell you that from all of his experience in business and the people that he's helped.
I've met my share.
Or should I say assisted or aided? Would that be more politically correct?
Here's a loaded question. Here's a loaded question for the gaming aspect. How do we as gamers, as a society, as a community, how do we become better in that regard? How do we encourage us? Yeah, exactly. It's the $1 million question. How do we encourage us to stop being... I'm not going to use the word toxic because toxic is just an overused term, but how can we encourage people to be better in terms of, maybe a little bit more critical thinking, be a bit more nicer to each other? How can we get the nicer part of the gaming to come through, shine through, rather than the negativity, the nastiness, the bad side? As I said, at the moment, we click on the bad things, and so for that, bad things drives the algorithm. How can we switch that to a nicer, happier, more integrated, more, I don't know, expressively happy about gaming community than just always looking for the negativity and
I block people.
Yeah,
See,
actually,
yeah,
how's
it's
your
true.
account
You
doing?
do. Your list is quite big.
No, how's your new account doing? Are you back to the 100,000 blocks, or?
Oh, I'm almost up to 180,000 already.
I
My
think
original
removable-
account that Twitter banned, I had over 600,000 blocks.
I think removable. I think your question, I know, is pertaining to gaming, but I think it's pertaining to everything. So I just got to shoot off for a second. But what I will say is that first, make people realize that at a younger age as possible, that the biggest threat we are the biggest threat to one another and to this planet. And once we actually fundamentally understand that, we can begin to grow.
Yeah, but the bad part, dude, humanity's millions of years old. Well, theoretically, but we're never going to learn.
No, and that's why I think blocking might not solve everything, but it's a temporary solution for sure.
It keeps it out of my feed.
Face. In case you can't see my face, it has a smile on it, so I'm being slightly funny, trying to be funny. I'm not that. I am, but yeah, so yeah. So don't.
Is
block
this
me.
church?
You can if you want. Feel free.
Well, brother
I'll be back.
Stubbs,
How you doing?
Use your
Praise the
microphone. Oh,
Lord.
you've got it on.
did I do that right?
How you doing? You all right?
We didn't listen to the conversation, did you? At all?
Yes, I did. I listened to everything.
So what's your answer, Stubbs? Because we asked Stubbs.
Trying to break his other knee, dude.
What is your solution?
I got a bit lost. What was the question? Solution's a bit nicer.
Positive. There you go. That's nice. Simple.
More
How do we make
positive.
gaming a more positive place? Go on.
I don't know. It's a bit difficult. If you get into social media, it might be more positive, but it's a bit difficult because some people, insist on the negativity rather than enjoying all the gaming they've got to play, and then if they just focus on the negatives. I mean, you'll never solve it. It's always been here and it always will be. But maybe one day when I still say it's going to happen. Maybe one day, because see, here's the thing: these console wars, you find that the young growing up, our kids, most people's kids growing up now, they don't know about exclusives. Like, my kids care about Fortnite, Roblox, and stuff like that. They don't have any attachment to boxes or anything like that, or brands like that. And one day, their generations, there's going to be, I don't think you'll get the console so-called wars, because kids won't care. There'll be no attachment. And plus, with Xbox and PlayStation, because they will, even though PlayStation are going more multi-platform towards PC, day and date, I think they'll get closer to. One day, I'm not saying now, I'm not saying 5, 10, eventually, it will be multi-platform. So that is when there won't be any negativity as much. You'll still get some
I
negativity.
disagree with that at all. Just because there's no, even if you took all the platforms away and made it just one platform to play your games,
You still get people
regardless of
moaning, though, wouldn't you? To be fair,
do you know what I still think would be there? I think there is always something there to moan about, whether your subscription service is better than my subscription service.
That's true. Yeah,
whether your Fortnite has the best skins versus my Fortnite has the best skins.
I feel like an investor
always
in that game.
Something.
I do.
Yeah, I think there will always be something there to kind of egg people on, and it's just us old gamers that are going to, I reckon, just to kind of, as Wilmy's done, is just to educate the youngers and just say, look, don't take it too seriously. Enjoy what you've got, enjoy the gaming experience, and don't take it. I think that's it. Just don't take it too seriously. Is probably the best answer. It's like, don't get, don't panic or don't get yourself overexerted over these things, because they don't really mean a lot in the big scheme of things. They may mean a lot to you right now, but in the big scheme of things, not really.
Exactly.
Having food in your stomach, a place to sleep, somewhere nice and warm. They're the big things that you should really be worried about.
Yeah.
your
Food. Warmth,
plastic
shelter.
box.
Yeah. Those three basic things remove all. It doesn't matter whether you're born in China, born in America, born in Russia, the Ukraine, the UK, or Africa. The fundamentals, we're all exactly the same.
Yeah, and as long as you can try and work your hardest to make sure those are looked after, everything else is a nicety, sort of thing. That's just my thought, on it. I was just trying to say that one way where we can try and make it as like a much more nicer place, and it's just, I think, as you said, a bit more of an education to the youngsters, and that's my solution: is don't take it too seriously,
and stop making stupid people famous.
God, do you know what? If we could do that, I think our politicians aside would be removed from the world.
That would not be a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that, we vote in the most stupidest people, as well as making famous the most stupidest people.
Remember, I just got a question for. It's just something you just said there, Wilmy. Don't make whoever. It doesn't matter they're stupid. Whoever, don't put them on a pedestal, right? Because you shouldn't look up to people and you shouldn't look down on people, right? That's the first fundamental flaw in the way that you are becoming observant and looking at life. But it does baffle me, and maybe someone's got the answer to this, is that why do people that are ignorant, that don't actually, sort of create anything positive, have such a gravitational pull, right, in harnessing such a great following and effectively becoming bad teachers for people that become bad students effectively, right, in the world. It's the
car. Well, I think I can answer that.
The pandemic.
It's the car crash incident. If you see a car crash, you get enough people looking at it, they assume it's really interesting. And if you can keep that flow of people aimed at that car crash, then they'll think it's more than what it is. And if you have someone at that car crash telling you about that car crash and consistently keeping you informed about said car crash, then that person becomes more important than the car crash. And it's the same way with if you can feed the bad cycle, that will always be then promoted. And I think your best option, as what Millie has already said, is just if you keep reposting and re-promoting bad faith actors, bad people, if they're bad takes, they're going to progress up the ladder. They're going to progress up the algorithm, because it's the algorithm is there for one thing. Whatever gets the most clicks will be the thing that gets put to the top. So if you have someone who is a bad faith actor or bad journalist or a bad gamer, and you keep reposting, replying, and clicking on them, they will climb the ranks. If you say nothing, they will basically disappear. I think it's a perfect example of this. It's actually a Simpson episode. I think it's one of their horror ones where all the advertising becomes to life, and they have to basically convince Homer not to look at the advertising, because once they stop looking at advertising, then it dies. That's exactly the same thing on social media. Ignore these people with bad takes, these journalists with bad takes, these people with bad faith. Ignore them, block them. I think in that case that would be a better option. Block them and let them fall out into obscurity. And not just us. I think everybody has to learn that as a skill, because the more people do it, as you said, the more people will just push them up higher the algorithm, and then they'll get promoted even more. And it's just like a regurgitating cycle of crap that's just increased.
I just want to just throw this in there because you just reminded me of that John Carpenter movie. You probably know it, Wilmy. They Live. The guy who puts his sunglasses on and really sees what the marketing really about that's going. And I think that's just so relevant today than it's ever been.
Obey.
We show that in schools, right? To educate children. Sorry, Wilmy, go ahead.
Oh no, I just saying I love that movie, dude. One of my favorites.
Yeah, for me too. I think that, and alongside there's a few others there as well. I think there's a film from the 1980s called Powder, which I also think is incredibly relevant today as well.
It was 1984 in some aspects.
I beg your pardon?
Still was 1984 in some ways.
In 1984, yeah, that's another good movie.
I was born that year. That's the year I was born.
Sadly,
it was.
But the only thing I remember. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. No, I was going to say I was just when I walked away because I had to just do something, and my only takeaway from today's show was Wilmy calling me a therapist. I remember about a year or 2 years ago I was on the show and someone in the chat called me a Buddhist. But I just want to make it clear that I'm a pseudo student of Hitchens and Fry and Yuji. So yeah, just so
therapist wasn't far off, to be honest with you.
Oh, so now if we're gonna categorize ourselves, let's see. Boy, this could take a while. I'm Southern, in case you couldn't tell. I'm a combat veteran. I don't give a fuck. I'm an atheist and a gamer. So there.
Nice.
And a grandfather.
Yeah, that too. And I have no philosophies. Yeah, I do. Unzip your pants before you piss. Always helps out.
And don't shit on your own doorstep.
That helps too.
I think, to be honest with you, I think there is a little bit of philosophy, whether we believe in it ourselves and everybody, regardless of the education, there is a little bit of philosophy. You learn it from experience as you go through life. You start to learn things, and you're like, well, as you said, like, don't shit on your doorstep. You kind of learn these things, and that takes a little bit of a bigger aspect in life, whether you realize it. But I mean,
many people have many faces.
I would better say is one good positive when it comes out of gaming, and Wilmy, you'll probably be, and I know Wilmy and VJ, not Stubz because he's quite a youngster. One good thing I foresee coming towards gaming is that I think the loneliness epidemic for older people, that will come to an end, because we're going to be, I don't know about you, but I'm going to be playing games when I'm 70 and 80. I'll still be probably playing online if I can, with my mates.
Will you still be reviewing?
I don't think I'll have the mental capacity for that. I'm struggling as it is now, but What do you think? Do you think do you think as we're getting older, do you think that's going to be less of an issue for older people? Because the next generation of old people is going to be us, and we're gamers.
Do you
Dude,
remember?
I already know. I know people older than that that still play games.
Do you remember the Xbox advert they made about that, the powerful one where they had the granddad with the young lad playing it?
Yes.
That was a great advert. That was. I thought that was good about loneliness, and it is right.
The one where they're playing Forza.
Yes, and that says exactly what removal's on about. You're probably right. It probably will. If people are gaming, they won't be lonely if they're talking to people. Because a lot of elderly people, sadly, never speak to anybody because they haven't got no family. You know,
I've got a friend of mine. His dad is 76, 77, and he plays Destiny 2 all day, every day.
Nice.
Oh man,
I've played online with him, dude. It's quite funny.
And I bet he's good as well.
Talk. He'll trash talk right along with everybody else.
What was it? There was and you'll know this, Phil. There was it a 72-year-old sniper veteran, and he was playing, was it Modern Warfare? And he was getting headshot after headshot after headshot. So I think it's a clip I saw on social media, and this is where he's literally I think he was a previous sniper, and he was playing, he was taking out so many people.
Well, I'm here to tell you, dude, it doesn't always translate over very well, because in real life, when you're firing a weapon, there's no lag.
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't take 30 headshots to kill somebody.
No.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so he may have had something else going on, because it doesn't translate very well sometimes.
Oh, you've blown my. I thought it was like, oh, fantastic. It's like, I thought some of the old veterans could come over and really, wipe us all out because their skills are translating really over to the modern game.
I still hold my own in shooters, and I do a lot of sniping, but it's not like you're perfect at it. But yeah, it doesn't always translate very well at all.
Oh, damn it! He's asked me. Yeah, I was like, I had it in my head there. I had something like, you had to take it away from me.
Well, I mean, we know the weapons and
PlayStation. They'll be fine.
Yeah, we know the weapons and all that good stuff, and the different projectiles they fire, and we know all the fancy lingo and everything, but it doesn't always transfer over well.
Yeah. Wilmy's the guy. Wilmy you as well, Removers. Wilmy's the guy you call over to tell your kids that Father Christmas isn't real.
Yeah. Although now my kids grew up, they believed in Santa Claus, and we never told them anything different.
Oh, you were lucky. Yeah, you were lucky. I kind of cocked that one up early on. Something worse than the kids coming down and seeing you wrapping up their gifts. They're like,
we had some.
You make sure they're asleep first.
You should have just said to him that that Father Christmas has just deputized you as a temporary elf.
Well, you're right. It's exactly what I did. I basically kind of tried to convince my son. It was like, she was like, we wrap them, we send it to Santa Claus. He then does the magical gift and does all the magical thing, and then he sends it back to them. Right. Whether or not he's old enough to believe that story, we'll find out later next year. But yeah, that's the thing that kind of came out. I was like, oh crap! He just had a nightmare and came down just as I was wrapping it up, and I was like, oh bugger. So yeah, it was like, that's not a good sign.
I will say one thing though: when it comes to the gaming community, you can get out of it what you put into it, and you can control what you deal with and what you see. And I know everybody talks about the number of people I have blocked, but I mean, there just is that many people, and a lot of them are trolls and sock accounts and all that good stuff. There are some good people in the community. I've met some new ones. Some of these people that I've talked about, I don't deal with anymore, and because there's no reason to do it anymore. And it's kind of a life experience. You're going to get people either online or in the real world that do the same thing. But I just kind of block them and move on. I enjoy playing games. That's never going to change. And I don't care what anybody says about it. I posted clips the other day from Banishers, I think it is.
Yes. Great game. Absolutely great game.
And people were making comments going, oh my God, it's such a terrible game. Well, that's your opinion, good for
Exactly.
you.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely really did. Yeah.
And, it's just, you just don't pay attention to negativity because all it is a lot of background noise sometimes.
Yeah.
And, just the biggest thing is just ignore 99% of them.
I
And
suppose
if most people would ignore them, they would go away.
this is true. It's true. One question I kind of wanted to, because you're another gaming podcast, a much bigger, much more professional podcast.
32,000 subs you've got. Have a look. Well done, Wilmy.
What would
on
you?
that.
I would say is for those. What's the one lesson that you've learned, because you've been doing it for a number of years now successfully?
This makes 4 years.
What would you? What's the one lesson that you would say if you had to give someone who's starting? What's the one lesson that you would say to any new gaming podcast up and coming? What would one thing that you'd be pass on to them if you could, that you've learned in the 4 years that you've been doing it?
Don't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself. And a lot of people have an issue with that. Be yourself. Don't take on fake personas. Just be you. People can see through it. And probably not to do it. I mean, well, the thing is, it's like when
It's hard
we would
work.
get people,
Yeah.
we would get people, dude, that would message me last year, because last year we didn't podcast a lot because I was still healing the first of the year, and I would get people message me, why aren't you doing a show this week? Why aren't you doing a show this week? Bitch, are you paying me?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, some people, and I get it, if people are into listening to you or whatever, but it just kind of, I don't know, you got to be prepared because it is a lot of work. And some days you may not want to do it, and you got to be consistent.
That's the number one.
The thing is, it's just, I don't know, it's so many people do just take on, and I know a lot of people that get mad that have been doing it for years and they haven't built an audience. And yeah, we've been lucky. We've got 30,000 subscribers. I'm not even sure how I've still got that many because we didn't podcast for like 8 months. But you're not going to grow overnight. I've been doing it for 4 years. We've done some crazy shit on YouTube that most people have never done. We had the skits and all this good stuff on there. We made it interactive.
You've been copied too, haven't you? You've been copied as well. You have.
Oh, I've been. Jesus
literally
Christ,
the format. There
many...
was a bought by copycat, weren't there? All sorts.
Oh, dude, we've had so many copycats. We've had people stealing, our ideas. We actually had a couple of dudes stealing our videos and clips of our videos.
Oh.
And some of them are still in the community. Now I'm going to name names. But luckily, with the copyright thing, they had to remove it from their channels. But we even had people coming on at Christmas, singing Christmas carols for games. We had people doing an Ewok, not an Ewok, a Chewbacca sound for games. I mean, we've had podcasts up to 16 guests.
And that is not easy. Jesus.
God, it was a pain in the butt. But you have to be original. And if you're not having fun doing it, don't do it. Like Bomber and Leo. Me, Bomber, and Leo have been together doing this for 4 years. Leo's not always on every podcast now because the poor guy has to get up at 2 a.m. on Monday morning to go to work.
Yep.
But we did lose Fork because Fork wanted to do his own thing.
Yeah.
And apparently people watching hand puppets didn't take off like he thought it would. Husk just sort of disappeared.
Yeah, he's vanished. I don't know what happened.
Dude, Husk disappeared on all of us.
Oh, did he? Oh, right, because you know him. You were
mean,
like real good mates with him. I thought you were.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And he had other things he wanted to do, and he went away and just kind of really haven't heard from him.
Oh,
but
okay.
You have to build a bond with your your panel.
Mm.
Me and the guys, we talk every day, all day. Yeah.
Mm.
Believe it or not, we have each other's phone numbers and everything. We talk to each
Same
other
here.
all day long.
Same here.
Yep, same here.
And
Yeah.
you know, in the mornings, all day, at night, we share jokes, and you can imagine some of the shit I share with them in, you know, our DMs. You see some of the mild shit I post. You know, you got to see some of the shit I post to them. But that's the biggest thing. You if you have a panel that clicks, and you got to have personality. Nobody wants to listen to a monotone voice. You got to be a little bigger than life on occasion, and try not to be boring. And I've said it, and I actually pissed a few people off. I've actually been on podcasts and quit paying attention. I'll be playing my Steam Deck, you know, and I made dealers so
Just
mad
come
one
out and
night.
say that's what you've been doing with us. You don't have to. You don't have to put sideline it.
I've been on my well, I wasn't on my Steam Deck. I was on my PlayStation Portal.
That's fine.
But I made dealer mad one night on RDX because, you know, sometimes when some of the panel would talk, it would be like a 30-minute conversation about a game, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there, you know, I've got my Steam Deck in my hand, and I'm sitting here grinding through a level, and they're calling Wilmy. Oh yeah, what? You know, dealer trying to be funny. Goes, what the hell are you doing? Oh, I'm playing the game on my Steam Deck. Shit. I just turned my microphone back off. You know, I mean, try not to bore people, because the biggest thing is why a lot of podcasts don't survive the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Is everybody does the same thing.
Mm.
How many podcasts can you listen to? Trash Xbox. How many podcasts can you listen to? Trash PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And how many podcasts can you listen to that can honestly that keep repeating the same news over and over?
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons
That's what
that we like about Russ is it doesn't matter if we start diverting into, I don't know, talking about toast or talking about, you know, some random stuff. In fact, I think it livens things up. You know, it's not
we do.
always
And
about.
quite often, even if I put a title and description, etc., if we've not talked about any of that after the show, I go in and change the title, the descriptions and stuff. I do.
Yeah,
So,
like after this show's over, Stubz is going to put topic, what the fuck ever, we don't know.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the biggest thing, dude. You just got to be yourself, and a lot of people can't do that.
Well, this is the thing I said.
Go
on.
I put up a post a few months ago, and it angered some people because I was like, I know what some of these people are like behind their microphone. I've talked to them, you know, on the phone, or, you know, behind the scenes of their podcast.
Yeah.
I know what they're really like. They get on their microphone on the podcast, they're a whole different person. You know, they're all prim and proper and all this and that. And you talk to them outside of that, you know, being offline. Oh, it's a whole
completely different. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And me, I'm the same. I don't give a fuck where you hear me. If you're talking to me in a party chat on the Xbox or PlayStation, you're going to hear me just like I am now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Or if you meet me in person, I'm going to be exactly like I am now, except I'm worse in person. But
not
you
restricted.
You just,
yeah.
You got to be you. And like I said, man, people can sense it. But then some people just like to be fed bullshit too. So
this is true.
You do, yeah.
It's like one of the things that I've said to Stubz, in the case I said to you, I don't classify this as a podcast. I just basically classify it as us two mates having a chat. There may be some topics. Sometimes we hit those topics, sometimes we don't, but we just basically end up just talking shit with each other. Yeah. You know.
And for some reason, like a lot of people listening, especially Apple Podcasts, people seem to love the podcast on there. They do. It's just us talking. It's not. I'm not like, there's a lot of podcasts, as you know, Wilmy, in the community say, if you were to go off like you are now, they'd cut you off and be quite annoyed with you. You have to stay on target, on regiment, exactly what the topic is. And that's how it is. Don't swear ever.
And see, here's another dumbass on my timeline. Just shared that same post. This dumbass, Japan hates Xbox.
Oh.
I have seen people post this thing like, 50 times today. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, we get it. We totally get it.
Thing is, what people don't get is it's like people like him and back in the day when salties in the community, people like that. They, even if you've not tweeted them directly, if you've screenshotted it and they see it, they love that crap.
Oh wow!
'Cause it
Here's
gets you
another. Oh,
talking.
here's a new one. The only time an Xbox fan gets laid is when they rape their sister. Well, that's cute.
So,
See, and the gamer tag is Pony Elite. I mean, come on, dude. It's a troll account. You know, and you guys just feed into it, and they have to share it because they're trying to prove a point how
You
mad
get
they
the
are
people
over
who
this.
support it will share it. Then you get the people who dislike it will share it, and all of that just pushes it up the algorithm, and then the algorithm will push it even further.
And then I keep
So-
seeing it, and I keep seeing it, and then I block everybody that shared it. That's usually how that works.
That's the better way to be honest. Yeah, I can understand. You know, it's just I don't know. I think to be honest with you, I do kind of wonder if some of the people on Twitter, we don't really appreciate that maybe they're just young kids already. You know, don't get me wrong. I know there's some adults out there, as you said, who act like children.
Oh, dude,
You're like,
a lot
well,
of these are actually, sadly, they're adults. That's the bad part. They're not kids.
but they're behaving like kids. That's the thing. This is what it's like. As you get older, I like to think. As for me, I just got more tired. It's like it's too tiresome. How have you got the energy for it?
Some
Yeah, as you
people
get
don't have
older,
anything
I'm
else
like,
to do. But yeah, and it's just crazy to me. That's like the 30th time I've seen that post shared today. And like I said, they keep sharing it. I'll just block everybody that shares it.
I think that post started yesterday. I think because yesterday because it was Icon Era called him a notable influencer. That's how it started. Is this the same post or not? Sorry, this is the same post about Icon Era calling Japan hates Xbox a notable influencer, insider. Sorry, is that the same one?
No.
No, oh, it's something different. Okay.
And calling
Trust
Game
me,
Pass welfare pass. Oh my.
There, trust me, there's so many stupid things out there. To be
Oh
honest with
yeah,
you.
dude. And they do it, like I said, they do it for the reason of baiting. That's it. And some of these dudes, I'm telling you, man, they wake up for this shit. They
do.
live for it.
They do.
And it's
Well,
really
this is what
sad.
this is what I'm saying. This is why I think social media, as some, you'd like to think us adults have got got it sorted, got ourselves wrapped around it. But to be honest, I think social media is an addiction. It is just
It
as
is.
addictive as alcohol or drugs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we haven't realised it because
I'm
we're
addicted.
getting like a little.
I know I am. They're looking at it.
It's an endorphin hit. It's an endorphin hit. You get a like on your post, yay! I need to do another post, and hopefully I'll get another like.
I
You know,
get that
and it's the
really
same
likes,
thing.
so I think you ain't that. You know what I mean? But it's I don't think things are ever going to change, are they? But it just
And yes, Pixel, I'm a talker in real life too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can tell you some crazy jokes in real life too. It's like, did you know I used to be a school teacher?
What's
I
that?
didn't, but I used to be a school teacher. Taught a 5th grade
I
class.
can kind of imagine it now. I can actually, I know, I can
Uh-huh.
see you
And
definitely.
the
I
funny
can
part
imagine
was,
it.
you know, every class has that troubled child, right?
Yep.
Well, the troubled child in my class, his name was Archibald Barisal. Yep. So one day in class, we were going over phonetic syllables. And I told the class, I said, you say your name in phonetic syllables for a star, I'll give you Monday off from school. So right away, I picked, I went around the room and I said, Archibald Barisal. He goes, nope. Try somebody else first. I said, okay. I said, Mary Jones. And she said straight up, because she's an A student, she goes, my name's Mary Smith. Oh, I'm sorry, her name is Mary Smith. So my name's Mary Smith. Get your make, get your make, get your RY, get your re, get your Mary, get your SYTH, get your Smith, get your Reed Smith, get your May Smith, get your Mary Smith. I said, very good. I said, Archibald. He goes, nope, try somebody else. So I looked around the room and looked at another kid. I said, Johnny Jones. Johnny said straight up, because he's an A student, actually a D student. We'll make an A student for this joke, okay? He said, my name's Johnny Jones. Got your J, got your John, got your Y, got your D, got your Johnny, got your Jones, got your Jones, got your knee Jones, got your John Jones, got your Johnny Jones. I said, very good. I said, Archibald. He goes, you asked for it, fucker. My name's Archibald Marisol. You got your ARCH, you got your arch, you got your I, you got your arch, I, you got your BOD, you got your ball, you got your eyeball, you got your archball, you got your arch eyeball. You got your BRE, you got your bear, you got your ball bear, you got all ball bear, you got your arch eyeball bear ass. You got your O, got your asshole, got your bear asshole, got your all ball bear asshole, arch eyeball bear asshole, got your arch eyeball bear asshole. That's very, very good.
I'm impressed at the speed you can talk at.
I cannot. I cannot. My ears were catching up to those words.
Yeah, mine was too.
That is some serious.
I could have been a great auctioneer at some point, maybe.
I think, yeah, that is a fantastic verbal skill. I tell you what, I don't think
I missed my call. And they said Eminem was the only white boy that could talk that fast.
Yeah.
That is a skill and a half. That is like either you've got it or trained for it. And I think, Josh, it's more likely if you had it from the beginning.
Picks chats up women. That's why you single. next time you're in a nightclub, look at her and go fuck dance. Let's just go fuck. See how that turns out for you.
Well, in this day and age, in this day and age, that would be classed as sexual assault and you'd be arrested.
It might work. Never know.
At the moment, to be honest with you, the biggest issue at the moment is that the girls and boys aren't talking to each other, from what I'm hearing. Literally, a friend of mine went to a club and he said the girls sit on one side, the guys sit on the other side, and neither of them went across and talked to each other. And that's how it was for about 4 hours.
They're too busy
and I'm like,
bully.
Really? He's like, yeah. He's like, he says, you think dating was bad when you were doing it? He says, dating now, it says literally they don't talk to each other. No one's willing to make the first move. The guys are out having some beers with the guys, and the girls are just waiting for the guys to pick them up, and they can't be bothered.
Thank God I don't have that issue. Thank God I'm married.
Whew. Yeah, that's exactly. That's what I said to my missus. I said, see what now? I said, I'd never be able to do it. There's no way in hell I'd be able to find a new missus. I said, you're stuck with me.
No,
sorry.
That ever happens, I'm going to put lipstick on my fingers and a wig on my hand. No, not me.
Honestly, I feel sorry. I tell you what, I feel sorry for my kids now. I was like, literally, when they go to the dating market, I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, actually, it's the thing. You've got older kids, so clearly, you've gone through the dating market thing. I bet that was a bit of a shock to some of the boyfriends and girlfriends. Well, maybe the girlfriends, but the boyfriends.
Well, the wilmyhood walks around the corner with his gun.
How'd you know?
There's a click. There's a click and a cock in the background.
Yeah.
An AR-15, being carried by a guy with bloodshot eyes can do wonders. You'd be amazed.
I bet you really did. You literally is like when they came in to ask for your daughter out, you could like, come in, let's sit you down and let's have a nice chat. I bet you really was one of those fathers who literally is like you the fear of God was put in them, whether like you believe it or not.
Kinda, yeah. But no, I knew the kid. So I knew his dad. I knew pretty much his whole family.
Well, that's a thing because like if you know the dad and you know the dad well enough, you probably
it wasn't poor old Archibald, was it?
No.
But as like now, I suppose is like all your kids are they're not single, are they? All the youngest is not single, is she?
No,
I'm not asking you.
Oldest,
so you're not going through. Are you still going through that sort of thing? You're not going through that at all now.
No. My oldest daughter's not married.
But
my son, he got married right before Christmas, and my youngest daughter, Jesus, they've been married 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're past it all now. Hopefully, you're like
Oh yeah,
no
dude,
one.
I'm past it.
You've done your duty.
Time it was.
That's the thing. I have got 2 daughters, and I tell you what, I just don't know how I'm going to react when their first boyfriend comes over. I just know I'm going to be the scary dad. I just know it.
Now, what's really sad, I know it. And I know I'll probably catch shit for this one. My oldest daughter, when she was in high school, this boy came up one night and he was going to take her out. And I'm like, dude, is that seriously your face? And he just looked at me and I was like, what the fuck happened, man? Did your parents drop you once or twice out of the shopping cart? What the hell? And he left.
Well, imagine that. You just better pick up this girl, and that's the thing you get. I mean, you got. At that point, you're like, this is what I'm going to get every time I pick her up. There is no point. Just call it quits now.
Pixel dude, men don't get menopause. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's just Wilmy's way of testing the boy's character.
Yeah, if they can get past him,
Yeah, you got to
maybe
take a
they've got a
joke.
chance.
They're
Maybe
getting
they've got a
past-
chance.
They're not
Yeah,
getting
you got to be able to
past
take a
him,
joke.
past the test they're getting past the test of character.
Yeah, I think that's what, and that's the thing that I'm like. I'm going to have to try and become. I'm going to have to try and give them that test of character when my daughter's older.
You should
I'm
wear
not
that
looking
mask
forward to it.
to shows. You should wear that. You should wear that mask you wear to game trading shows. Pull it out.
I-
in about 10 years and you need it.
No, I
And
just
you
I
Well,
think
and
honestly-
also, it doesn't help either when they walk into my home office because I've got like life-size posters of Freddy, Jason. I've got a big giant poster, House of Thousand Corpses. I've got the Otis mask back here behind me. I've got all this horror stuff, and yeah. So
it's I can imagine that. No, it won't be a mask. I'll tell you what, it'll be my face. That'll be the thing. They'll definitely see my face.
I've got Pinhead on the wall. I mean, I've got shit everywhere. So it's just like, yeah, they probably go, yeah, that might be a little weird.
Yeah,
Right.
don't piss off the weird dad. Yeah, because you never know what he's going to do. That's the thing, isn't it? It's leaving him with enough doubt of what you
Oh, yeah, it
potentially
worked.
could do.
Oh, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It definitely works.
Oh.
And then one night, I actually made a mistake. She was dating some boy, and she found out he had been cheating on her. And I threatened to kill him in front of his father
Oh.
because he had done something. I don't even remember what it was. But see, the bad part was his father was a sheriff.
Uh-oh.
And the father looked at me because he was there too. And I'm like, you want to go with him? So yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like if you're the dad, I've got a son as well. If my son had done something like that, I think my son's clever enough to know that he would be in shit. You know?
I don't even remember what it was he had done to her, but it was something I did not really agree with.
Mm.
And no matter how old they get, that's still daddy's little girl.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think my kids have pretty much know it's like, hey, I'll back you to the hilt, but if you've done something wrong, you're also going to get punished for it. You don't get any freebies from me.
That's it.
I'm a little bit old school in that regards.
But gentlemen, it's been a blast. But
Yeah.
I've been sitting here for 2 hours and
it's
I got to
definitely
cook dinner.
Yeah, it's definitely time. It's been a good conversation. It's been we've covered multiple things.
It's been a
Stubbs is
superb
still here. I thought he left.
No, I'm still here. This happens quite often.
He just enjoys it. He just enjoys a 30-second snooze every now and then.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
tired. The amount of sleep I've had recently. I had to sleep in a day early for 2 hours.
Because I'm going to say it's like 11 p.m. there where you guys are, right?
Yeah, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks Wilmy for coming on. Do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Well,
Probably
if I
no,
keep up
though.
like this, you can find me on the back of a milk carton.
Sheriff's department.
But
By the sounds of it.
you can find me on Twitter. Look for wilmyhood #2. You can find me on YouTube. Look for Gaming Beyond the Box. If I'm on Xbox or PlayStation or Steam, just look for wilmyhood. That's it.
And go follow him. Honestly, you won't regret it. This is a lovely chap. Honestly, do go it.
Definitely true. That's definitely true. But thanks for coming on.
I just
I know-
post memes all day to make people.
And I will
laugh.
invite you on again
And
sometime
you do
this
make us
year.
laugh, and that's
I
we love
will.
you for it, matey. Honestly,
Been a
you
fun
do
show.
make us laugh. I look forward to your memes.
Yeah, it's been a fun show. Removable. Thanks
Yes.
for coming on again. Making your return.
It's and who else could I return better than with Wilmy Hood? And it's
Exactly.
absolutely brilliant to have him on here. Honestly, we should have him on again.
We will.
I know he's a
And
pain in the
remind
arse, and I know he's a
me.
busy chap,
Remind me that
but
I'm terrible.
yeah, I will do. He honestly, if you can't have a gaming podcast community without Wilmy. It just doesn't exist, I don't think, in my opinion. So no, thank you very much for
Jesus.
coming on, my friend. Honestly, thank you for coming on.
You are putting it on thick, bro. Damn.
Hey, I'll say it to your face. I'll say it to you. I think you're good. I don't
Thank you.
bullshit either.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry. Yes, that's That's my opinion. But if you want to speak to listen to me, I appreciate it. I'm on Twitter, Xbox, Minds, and a few other social medias under the name Removal Sanity.
Thanks for coming on. And VJ.
Thank you.
Thanks for
VJ, also known as Dr. Phil. Go ahead.
thanks for coming on, VJ.
Also, I thought this show was going to be sort of spectacularly tedious, but yeah, I'm glad it went okay. It went pretty well, and I think the one thing
Tedious.
spectacularly so, and I think the one thing I took away from Wilmy, because I don't know him too well, is that the truth doesn't really often need much publicity, but the false does, and hence social media exists. So I've learned something today for sure, and not to mess with any member of his family, because I might end up at the local sheriff's department.
Yeah, he's actually because he's closer to you than us.
No, I know he is. I know he's just down the road from me. But the other thing is, if I can make a recommendation, is perhaps take one or two of those posters down and replace it with one of perhaps Uncle Buck or something like that, just to make people feel a little bit more welcome. But anyway, that's just a suggestion, Wilmy.
So thanks for
I'm
coming
far
on.
from just down the road from you if you're in California.
He was fantastic.
Well, no, it's a good show, and you can follow me on this YouTube channel or Apple Podcasts, A Gaming Conversation with Friends, Spotify, etc. Stubz Gaming 01 on Twitter, and that's it. So thanks everyone for tuning in and watching this week's show. It's been a great show with Wilmy Hood. Always love it when we go on the fly and go into different topics and talk about.
Well, thank you, you wanker. Now I'm gonna get off this show and I'm gonna be talking like this all night.
Yeah. Right.
And my wife smacks me in the mouth.
Right. Thanks everyone. See you next week. Cheers.
Hello.